What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Final Whistle video and audio edition. No matter where you're listening from, whether it's at work, at the gym, in a library, or a quiet place at home, I appreciate you tuning in and giving us a little bit of your time to listen in on the world of sports. There's so much that's going on, especially with the World Cup. So I'm not going to hold you guys for too long. Let's get right into it. Um, Obviously, you got the World Cup drama, you got NFL offseason storylines, you got MLB trade buzz, and we're going to get into some hot takes at the end. So make sure you stick around for that. Without further ado, let's get into segment one, the FIFA World Cup. The knockout stage is here, finally. Unfortunately, yesterday I was heartbroken. The United States run ends and they exit again in the round of 16. This is the second World Cup in a row where they've gotten defeated by a European foe. Back in 2022, they lost to the Netherlands, and last night they were defeated in Seattle by a very good Belgium team, 4-1. Um, Obviously, I feel like this game and this moment was really huge for the U.S. men's team. And I think maybe the moment and the lights were a little bit too bright in the beginning. It feels like to start the game, they were playing really tentatively, something that we hadn't seen them do throughout this entire World Cup, and they were a little bit unsure of themselves. But with Malik Tillman hitting the game tying goal to tie it 1-1, I thought they were going to build on some momentum. But right after that, they made a mistake and gave up a goal. I think it was 2 minutes after, they got the goal off the free kick. And then from there, Belgium just pretty much controlled the rest of the game. This leaves a bigger question for the U.S. men's team. Is this going to be the common trend? Every time we go up against a European foe, we just can't get past them? Or are we going to have a breakthrough at some point? It feels like it's heartbreak after heartbreak with this team. But they had a great World Cup, but there's still a whole lot we need to do and a whole lot we need to go back to the drawing board and get better on. Now we got to talk about Messi. Man, Argentina remains one of the favorites, and it has to be because of Messi, but also the team around him. Today, when they played against Egypt, down 2-0 in the 79th minute, everyone's thinking Argentina is going home. And all of a sudden, they have a flurry of 3 goals in 15 minutes to come from behind and win and stay in the World Cup. For that reason alone, Argentina has to be the favorite going into the round of 8 and even for the rest of this tournament. Unbelievable performance by Argentina. I look forward to them doing greater things as the tournament continues, and they may even go back to back. I wouldn't be surprised if they do. Now, I will say the biggest surprise nation for me so far has to be Norway, and I'm falling in love with this team more and more as I watch them. What Holland has been able to do, especially what they did against their performance against Brazil, winning 2-1, was absolutely phenomenal and exceptional. And I don't think anyone expected Norway to make it this far. But the fact that they have, you have to consider them a real threat. And I wouldn't be shocked if they're one of the last 4 teams standing with a chance to go after the World Cup trophy. Congratulations to them, and I look forward to them doing greater things as the knockout round continues. I have to say, got to get into the biggest disappointments. And for me, it's Brazil. Brazil came out against a Norway team that a lot of people felt like Brazil was a lot better than, and they came out and played absolutely horrible. This was probably the worst game I've seen Brazil play in a long time, and it showed in their performance, and it definitely showed in the results. And they have a lot that they need to look over and go back to the drawing board to get prepared for the next World Cup in 2030. Now, looking ahead, I'm going to be honest with you. Every single quarterfinal matchup looks absolutely eye opening, and I can't really determine a winner for the World Cup yet. I really have to see the next round, but I've been saying that ever since the World Cup started. So I'm really excited to see the matchups and how everything plays out. But, we'll be there every step of the way for y'all. Moving on to our second segment, the NFL. Training camp is almost here, believe it or not. Feels like just yesterday we were watching the Super Bowl and watching the Seahawks take down the Patriots. But we're almost at a brand new season, so we got to get into what's going on in the world of football. Now, obviously, you got the big storylines from the teams that are facing the most pressure entering camp. And for me, there's a couple of teams. I feel like number one, the Philadelphia Eagles, obviously coming off a disappointing season, losing in the wild card round after winning the Super Bowl just the year prior. I feel like they have a big chip on their shoulders and they have a whole lot to prove this season coming back. The second team I feel like has pressure on them is the Washington Commanders. Following up a disappointing season last year, only winning a couple of games, I feel like Jaden Daniels has the opportunity to have some redemption for his team. Even though he was injured last year, I feel like he can make up for it this year if he stays healthy and he leads his team to the playoffs. A couple of other teams I have to mention, obviously, got to mention the Baltimore Ravens. It seems like every year Lamar Jackson is trying to get over the hump, and he just can't do so in the AFC. And you just got to ask yourself at what point will he be able to make it over the hump? You got Josh Allen with the Bills. That's another person that I'm wondering, will he ever be able to make it over the hump and make it to a Super Bowl and be successful at winning championships? Those are all a lot of questions that still remain to be answered, and we'll have to wait, not just for training camp, but the season to start to be able to see where this is going to head for them. Now, the quarterback battle that you need to watch. Obviously every year there's quarterback battles around the league, but to me, obviously, you know what I'm going to say. I have to say the Shador Sanders and Deshaun Watson quarterback battle has to be the most interesting out of all the other ones in the offseason. You got Deshaun Watson who signed that big contract a couple of years ago, who didn't play last year because of injury. And then you got the star Shador Sanders, obviously the fifth round draft pick from Colorado. Doesn't matter how you feel about him. Um, Whether he should have went higher or he should have went undrafted in your opinion. He's here now and he had an unbelievable finish this past season with the Browns, and he definitely proved that he's deserves to be an NFL quarterback and a starting NFL quarterback. But you got on one hand you're investing a whole lot of money in Deshaun Watson, and on the other hand you got a rookie who you have on a rookie minimum, both competing for the same spot. Um, in my opinion, I feel like Shador Sanders is the way to go. He's the quarterback of the future. But at the same time, I can't fault the Browns if they decide to go with Deshaun Watson because they're giving him so much money and it's such a big investment for the Browns to make just for him to sit on the bench and not contribute. Now, the biggest offseason addition has yet to be seen for me. I still think there's time for teams to make decisions on trades and players that they want to get. Now, a team that I think is flying under the radar, that I really think this upcoming season they can make some noise. I'm gonna be honest with you. I have to go with the Cleveland Browns. If they play their cards right, I feel like they can make some noise. That's not saying they're a Super Bowl contender. It's not saying they're going to have a deep playoff run. I'm just saying for Cleveland Brown football, they're going to be a whole lot better than what you think. And a playoff team I think is going to take a step back this year. I would have to go with hmm. There's a couple. Hmm. That's a really good question. I would probably have to say the Chicago Bears. They're going to take a step back this year. I'm just not a huge fan of the Chicago Bears, so I think they're going to take a step back this year. All right, now let's wrap up this episode with some hot takes. So, hot take number one, I'm saying Argentina is going to go back to back in the World Cup after the performance they had today against Egypt, coming back from 2-0 with only a few minutes to spare and scoring 3 goals in 15 minutes was absolutely incredible. And for that reason alone, they're going to be my pick to go back to back and win the 2026 World Cup. Their experience, their leadership, and their tournament exposure has been something that's been amazing to watch. And Messi continues to rise to the challenge. So they will be your 2026 World Cup champions. The second hot take for me, the NFL's biggest surprise team has not played a game yet. Predict one team that will outperform expectations before training camp begins. Think about that. Who will outperform expectations before training camp even begins? I want to thank you all for tuning in to this week's episode of The Final Whistle. Obviously, continue to follow us on all platforms at X's and O's Debate Show. You can find us on video platforms, and this will be our first audio episode, so you will be able to find us on any audio platform, and be able to listen in to every podcast each week, if you prefer that. And so we'll be available any way you wanna view us at this point. Whether you want to just watch the actual podcast or you just want to listen to it if you're going on a jog or you're at home or you're in a library and you just want to have, you know, you want to listen to me talk all day. So I appreciate you all tuning in. Make sure you do that. Follow us on all platforms, and I'll see you all next week.